show you're about to listen to should be heard as satire audio entertainment. A part of the show are heard as non-PC, offensive, condescending, perverse, subjective, subversive, or like the thought workings of a group of 13-year-olds. This should cast no ill reflect on the staff of KLST and their affiliates. FL for L takes life seriously. 9/11.
And so, to get to the root of a community, as a doctor, I see the best place to go see this is at their schools. We go and we explore the cultures, ideals, and how they teach them to their young ones. Here in the outskirts of Bremerton, we chose a select school, special ed's school for gifted children. These children are processors of mass amounts of information. They pass along their information precisely and articulately. And we seem to be approaching as they're engaging in the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll give them a moment of silence, and then we'll come up and ask the kids individually who their daddy is and what he does. A ritual all Americans across our country.
3186, I say. 31. Under God. I hope you understand my future.
What a sweet crowd of kids. Look at them walk around in a circle. Seems to be so innocent and cute. Oh, look, here's one that looks like he's stimulated, like he could potentially answer questions if we ask him. So, young one, who's your dad and what does he do?
My dad repairs brick cars driven by women who have pinheads.
I have deep respect for deformities and people who are just born looking.
So I commend your dad for saying something special when it's very proper that they have these people in the community. You can tell, see, like the culture, this is what they teach their children. Her dad. Alright, and there's a young mister over there. Let's see what his dad does. Who he is. Young sir, who's your dad and what does he do?
Your dad.
My dad doesn't do anything since the crash.
Oh, it's not hard to push as hard down here. Most people, when they fly high, they fall far, 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 far low fast too. Buck up, son. You can have a chance to spange and.
Yeah.
Alright, now you over there. You look interesting. You over there on the left. What does your dad do for a living?
My dad gives money to people that doesn't have money.
Oh, that's good.
People use that money. And then they give other money back and they give the same amount of money back to my dad.
We can see. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you. What does your dad do?
My dad doesn't live with us anymore. He lives in New York and drives a taxi. And my mom helps him in the guy real soon.
Oh, this guy. This is endearing. Taxi guy. What's your dad? What do you do? Are you talking to me? You little one. No, we're talking to this guy over here. Oh, okay. Who's your daddy? Yeah, what does he do? Oh, man, dude, you're speaking out of turn. This is, unwarranted.
My dad watches TV all day long. My dad works on computers.
Like these guys,
Watched your land.
And he's on
Just the biggest charge out of it. Still buzzing.
These guys on the computer. Awesome.
Everybody's
Oh,
buzzing.
that's an awesome job. Right now, it's for you. Over there. What does your dad do? I am a doctor, but I only have so much patience. Please, in order. Now, again.
Yeah.
Keep going.
He doesn't have but here because and his head is so big he can't wear any hats.
I'm sorry I yelled at you. That's important information. Not wearing hats is a big problem. Yeah. Extracephalitis is so freaking common. The gifted school. Yeah, we're at the special ed school for gifted children. And we're gonna keep asking these kids what's going on. Who's your daddy? Yes, who's your daddy? What does he do? Don't talk about your mom.
My dad stole force. My mom is divorced. My dad is a psychologist and he helps people.
Your dad's a psychologist? Seriously, that's awesome. Yeah. Big ups to psychology.
Sure.
How do you lose feelings? Yeah. Where do they go? That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's like we're not laughing at you guys. No, we're emphasizing. Totally, this is all apathy. No, empathy, not apathy. We're special ed school. Special ed school for gifted children. Yeah. What does your dad do? How hard does he do it?
Our dad is a real sex machine.
He does it really hard. Goes pound town. You guys are pretty open about it. I know. I mean, this is the 80s or 90s. Have you ever seen a black guy blush? Holy shit, I'm doing it. Yeah. Alright, Rex, for real. Oh my god. We're out in the community. On the outskirts of Bremerton in the 41. Talking to children in special eds. School for gifted kids. And what does your dad do? Who's your daddy? Oh, okay.
I don't know what my dad does.
Well, you could have said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time. I live in France.
You said that a lot sooner.
Sailing a long time.
Psychic energy cleansing. Before we proceed further, I wish to teach you a bit about energy cleansing, since rarely do modern New Age books mention this subject.
In France.
You said
When
that a
you
lot
look around
sooner.
through clairvoyance, you open yourself, and the more open you are, the more negative energies you collect upon your own aura.
Sailing a long time.
This happens during psychic readings for others as well, or during psychometry and other forms of psychic work. It is important to know how to cleanse yourself and keep your aura clean. The simplest way is to light a candle and use your hands to collect energies from your aura and cast them into the flame. Just use your hands to grab the energies and cast them from your torso, hands, legs, back, and head.
You said that a lot sooner.
Energy follows thoughts, so if you keep an intention of collecting negative, dirty energies from your aura, the energies will be collected. Then cast them into the flame, and when you're done, cut the link between you and the flame. Allow the candle flame to burn out on its own.
A lot sooner.
Or, you can light incense on the floor. Any type of natural powder incense will work, and if you have access to white sage, then it will work nicely as well. Then stand above the incense and allow the smoke to cover you from the bottom to the tip of your head. Smoke generated by natural incense has cleansing capabilities, and it is often used in different forms of cleansing work, for example, cleansing magical rituals. Stand in the smoke for 5 minutes, and your aura should be cleansed. You can also use salt. Natural salt works best, but you can use kitchen salt. If you have a bath, then add a bit of salt to water, let's say 3 or 4 spoons. Then take a normal bath, and the salt will cleanse your aura. If you do not have a bath but a shower, you can rub salt into your entire body with the intention of energetic cleansing, and then wash the salt off with water. It will work in the same way. Salt is known for its cleansing capabilities. These are the simplest methods that can be used by everyone, as salt, candles, and natural incense are easily available, and they're easy to use. Practice such cleansing at least once a week, and after every form of spiritual work or practice. And if you offer psychic services, then cleanse yourself with smoke or candle and energy work between each customer. This will keep your aura clean and healthy. Summary: you have learned that there are 2 types of clairvoyance and that you're going to learn how to use the second type, the inner sight, which is enough for you to work with clairvoyance effectively. You've learned some safety rules, meditation techniques, and exercises that will help you open your third eye. You also have learned that through your practice, you might experience negative thoughts, bad memories from the past, negative beliefs and such. These are core images. And you have learned how to work them out through affirmations and core images. Finally, you have learned how to protect yourself and how to create a sacred space in which you're going to practice clairvoyance at first. Now, with all this knowledge and with months of experience that you have in general psychic development, you can proceed to the book of practice, which will teach you practical exercises that will help you learn and develop clairvoyance. Chapter and notes. 1. Energetics. Your energy body, made of energy centers and channels, your spiritual body. 2. Radionic devices, devices and tools made of copper elements and crystals, used to manipulate spiritual energies. 3. Kundalini syndrome, energetic problem, caused by spiritual growth that is way too fast for the spiritual practitioner. It causes emotional and mental imbalance, that leads to mental illness. 4. Psychic development simplified, page 86. The book of practice, all right, the worst is behind you. I know people don't like theory. From now on, theory will be kept to a minimum, and I will focus on practical aspects of clairvoyance. You will learn how to use the Psychonaut method for personal self-growth and further improvement of clairvoyance, and you will learn about psychic readings, auras, chakra reading, and more. We will start with the Clairvoyant Laboratory, a technique that is quite useful for spiritual growth and psychic readings. The Clairvoyant Laboratory technique, as always, you should start with the basics. The Clairvoyant Laboratory technique is a basic method that will introduce you to more complex work, and in the future, it can be used for psychic readings if you want. Often, clairvoyant psychics say that in order to acquire information, they need to visit their private sacred space. It is an area within their mind, a place where they can pick up psychic data and interpret it. But rarely does any psychic explain what this sacred space is or how it works. I'm going to share my sacred space with you now, and reveal the secret. I close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, and relax. Then, I visualize myself standing in the center of a large library. This is my sacred space for psychic work. This mental sacred space is my clairvoyant laboratory. It has been visualized by me and programmed to exist within my mind. It's quite simple. It's a visualized area, or even a wall upon which pictures appear. It is all about visualization and letting go of your conscious control over the images. Within such visualized space within your mind, you can pick up psychic data in various ways, through sounds, smells, images, and feelings. but mainly through images. Within my personal library, there are bookshelves, and I can pick up and open every single book. There are doors that I can open. There are pictures on the walls and desks to sit by. There are many objects I can interact with. When I need to know something, I let go of the control of my visualization. I see the library, and I follow my intuition. It guides me to the bookshelf in the right corner of the library. I pick up the book that I sense I should pick up. And I open it, and I look at it without any control over the images. But the images appear, and all I have to do is interpret them. Then, I have my psychic answer. This is the Clairvoyant Laboratory that I use for my psychic practice. And this is the famous sacred space all these psychics talk about. Another example of a psychic sacred space, a clairvoyant laboratory, comes from the teachings of Deborah Katz. For her own clairvoyance, she used to visualize a large black screen in front of her eyes, upon which pictures and messages could appear. You can try it, as well, whether it's a cinema screen, or a modern TV, or a theater. This won't be a problem later on when your automatic clairvoyance kicks in, but at first, you will need a focal point, a hook or an anchor point. A clairvoyant laboratory is such an anchor point. In other words, if psychic information you've picked up does not have a hook, it might not be displayed to you in any form. In the case of clairvoyance, the hooks are images that you visualize. When they're visualized, and you have an intention to acquire specific information, then all you have to do is to let go of the illusion of control, and observe. If there are any impressions or messages coming through your psychic senses, they will hook themselves, and you will be able to perceive them consciously. It's exactly what I do when I pick up a random book in my visualized library. I visualize. I keep an intention, and then I let go. If there is a message or information for me to pick up, I will pick it up, so I can pass it to my client, for example. The clairvoyant laboratory can be expanded into other forms of psychic perception. As I said, psychic information needs to have a hook to attach itself to it, and become a conscious thought that you can perceive. I'm clairvoyant, so I attach psychic impressions to images. How to create a clairvoyant laboratory. As you should know already, creating your clairvoyant laboratory is all about visualization. You need to visualize yourself a place in which you will be performing your psychic work. So, sit down for a while and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths and relax. Enter an alpha state with your favorite method. See the darkness in front of your eyes. Think about what kind of space you want to create for yourself. Is it a library? Or maybe your home? A large Victorian mansion? Or maybe a scientific lab? Visualize a space that you enjoy. You need to like the place in which you work. It's a psychological thing. Fill the place with interactive objects. For example, add bookshelves, a desk, a plant, a few doors, a computer, a large LCD screen. The point is to have as many objects to interact with as possible. Think about what else you can add to your laboratory. Finally, when everything is in place, memorize the place. You're going to return here soon. That's it. You've prepared yourself your very own clairvoyant laboratory. And any time you want to return there, the place should be the same. Any differences carry a message, so pay attention to things that change within your clairvoyant laboratory. I've mentioned a large Victorian mansion. I've a word of advice here because some of you might want to create a haunted building for your psychic work. With such visualization, you add an intention for the building to be haunted, and you expect it to be haunted. Thus, you might accidentally attract spirits, ghosts, and even negative entities to your life. Please, don't do this. Spirit communication and dealing with ghosts are very advanced skills, and slightly dangerous things to do. I don't recommend it. So, don't intend for your sacred space to be haunted because you might get what you wish for when you're not ready for this. How to enter and leave your clairvoyant laboratory. In order to enter your clairvoyant laboratory, you need to take a few deep breaths and relax. Clear your mind and chill out. Enter the alpha state. Then, simply visualize the laboratory you've created. See the objects, the walls, all the doors, etc. In order to leave the laboratory, all you have to do is open your eyes and become conscious of your physical world once again. You might want to add grounding and centering skills to your work with the laboratory. As you can see, it's very simple. How to use your clairvoyant laboratory. In order to explain how to use your lab, we need an example situation. Let's assume that you're doing a psychic reading for someone. So a client, let's call him Joe, asks, what is the source of my financial problems? You need to enter your clairvoyant laboratory and with this intention in your mind, answer the question. Relax, enter an alpha state of mind. Enter the lab by closing your eyes and visualizing yourself standing in your psychic space. Ask the question, what is the source of financial problems for Joe? Start hunting for information and messages. Relax and clear your mind. Notice if you're attracted to any object in your sacred space. Let go of control and follow your intuition. It will develop with time and practice of the basic psychic awakening exercises. You might be attracted to a room you have never seen before and see a person there. Ask the person its name. Let's say a person's name is Emily. So ask your client if he knows someone called Emily. Maybe she's his ex-wife who took all his money during a divorce. He may be attached to this fact and he can't let it go, so he attracts more financial problems. Or you might be attracted to a book. Open it and see what's inside. Maybe there is a photo of a car. And maybe Joe has bought a new car, but in order to do so, he decided to live in debt. Or the book might be empty, which can be interpreted not as there's no answer to your question, Joe, but as you have no plans for the future, you're empty, you need to set yourself some goals. Interpretation can be tricky. When the answer is provided, you can leave your lab and wait for another question or end the reading. Don't forget to break the link with your client when you're done, and with all the objects you've read. I think this should give you the basic idea of how your clairvoyant laboratory works. It's very simple. You visualize the lab, you set the intention, and then you let go. All you have to do next is interpret what you perceive. Additional tips. You can continue to organize your sacred psychic space. For example, you might intend for things related to the past to appear on the right, and things related to the future to appear on the left, while the things related to the present will appear in the middle of your sight. To program your lab in such a way, all you have to do is keep that intention every time you practice in your lab. When you cannot see anything, there may be a few reasons for this. For example, you might need to interpret the empty message. Or it might mean that your intuition isn't developed enough and you need to spend more time with the basics before you can practice advanced stuff. The clairvoyant laboratory technique is a great way to improve your results in clairvoyance. And it can be used for psychic healing when performing a diagnosis, in chakra reading, in psychic reading, and in psychometry practice. It's a useful tool to work with, but as with everything, it takes time to master. At first, you might have trouble with visualization and with following your intuition. But keep practicing, and with time, you will get better and better. Psychic abilities are no different from learning any other skill, from riding a bike to drawing and programming. Remember, this advanced technique might not work if you haven't finished your basic psychic development practices, such as energy work, mind reprogramming, etc. People tend to jump to advanced stuff right away, and then they're sad if nothing works for them. Please, don't do this. The basics are fascinating, and they can lead to really fast results. And the best part is, when you're done with the basics, then the advanced things shall hold no secrets. The Clairvoyant Laboratory is a basic of clairvoyance, but an advanced technique on the general psychic development path. You can use this laboratory to work with your own intuition in every aspect of your life. For example, if you're thinking about a new business, you can enter the laboratory and ask a personal question regarding the new business, and follow the intuitive messages that appear through feelings and clairvoyant images. Businesses, relationships, friends, love, family, work. You can use the Clairvoyant Laboratory and your own intuition in every single area of your life. Later on, you will learn how to use the lab in spiritual journeys and spiritual development as well. The Clairvoyant Laboratory technique will be expanded upon over the next pages. You will learn how to use this technique for spiritual journeys and for observing energies, entities, and people. I will guide you through some uses, and other ways to use the lab I will leave to you. You will figure out additional ways to use this technique, I'm sure of it. The Psychonaut method, a spiritual journey. Now that you have learned how to use the simple technique of the Clairvoyant Laboratory, we're going to use it and help you with your own spiritual growth. You might ask, why do I need to deal with spiritual growth? I just want to learn clairvoyance. Well, that's what we're going to do. First, spiritual growth is important for clairvoyant development. The more spiritual you are, the better your clairvoyance is. But don't worry, spirituality isn't about sitting in a temple for 24/7 or becoming a monk. It's about learning how to live a peaceful and happy life. For those interested in grounded spirituality, I recommend my other book, Living with Reiki. Anyway, the Psychonaut method will teach you two things. First, it will allow you to identify more blockages and negative mind patterns that will help you improve your life. Secondly, through practice of this spiritual journey technique, you will open your third eye further and improve your intuition. Through observation of your inner self, your subconscious mind, you improve your clairvoyant vision, a form of vision that does not simply let you see spirits, but also allows you to receive psychic and spiritual messages. And the more you perceive this way, the more open your third eye gets, and the better your communication with intuitive mind is. And this, of course, will benefit your general psychic and clairvoyant growth. Now, a word of warning, the spiritual journey of the Psychonaut method might be painful, as any form of true spiritual path is. You might see the dark side of your own soul, or you might recall bad memories from the past. Don't worry, these things won't harm you anymore. But recalling them, becoming aware of them, helps you realize your true nature and heal negative emotions. The more negative emotions you heal with fears, for example, the better your life becomes. Don't worry, be strong and practice. This technique is a mixture of 4 images worked along with the rabbit's hole technique developed by Agnes Dictatat. How to use the Psychonaut method. You're going to use the Clairvoyant Laboratory technique for this spiritual journey. First, just sit down and relax. Close your eyes and enter the alpha state, as always in case of Clairvoyant Laboratory. I'm going to teach you 2 versions of this method, one that includes only you and another one. That includes support from your spirit guide. Basically, we all have at least one spirit guide at our side, and if we want, a spirit guide can help us in our spiritual growth. If you do believe in spirit guides, then ask the guide to help you with the Psychonaut method. If you do not believe in spirit guides, just ask the guide for help. Point 1. Enter your Clairvoyant Laboratory, Sit down, relax, enter the alpha state, and see the lab you created. 2. Set an intention to heal some part of you. Ask yourself what kind of problems you have right now, and what the source of these problems is. Generally, every problem we have in our life has a source within us, a thought, a memory, a belief, or negative pattern. When the pattern is healed, the problems are gone. OR 1. Your mind asks your spirit guide to help you with your spiritual journey. Ask the guide to show you the source of your current problems or the things that you should heal at the current moment of your life. 2. Now, when you've set the intention, let go of control and observe. Your mind will, either within seconds or after a few minutes, show you images. Memories, interpretations of beliefs, past events, people, and such. Your task is to observe the images and do an emotional dialogue work. Observe the images and analyze your behavior, your reactions, your beliefs. Analyze if they're healthy and good for you or not. If you can see something negative, analyze it as well. See how you have benefited from a negative experience, and what kind of result it had for your life. Relax and let go of any negative emotions once they're analyzed. Forgive yourself and people you recall if necessary. When the specific image is worked out, move on, let go and allow the mind to direct you further. 3. If you do work with a spirit guide and you can communicate with him or her, ask for additional help and advice. Allow the guide to advise you on how to deal with a specific problem. 4.
Fuck you.
When you're done with the journey, return to the normal world by opening your eyes.
What is it?
The whole purpose of this spiritual journey is to travel through visions and learn from them. If you stumble upon something difficult, a bad memory, for example, relax and use another technique of healing emotions. Affirmations or core images are a few examples. That's it. You've learned the Psychonaut method. Whenever you have problems or just time to grow, sit down and practice this technique of spiritual growth. It will help you resolve your life problems and difficulties. And more than that, through allowing yourself to observe and follow the visions and images, you develop your clairvoyance further.
Operation Mindfuck.
This will benefit you in the future, mainly in different forms of psychic readings.
Operation Mindfuck.
The technique itself is quite simple, so practice it whenever you can. Do angels have wings? It's time for more theoretical stuff. As you progress with clairvoyance practice, you will be experiencing more and more symbols. Drawings, scenes, types of movement, animals, people, specific colors and such, all these are psychic symbols. And it is important to remember that psychic symbols are subjective, not objective. It means that everyone perceives psychic information in a subjective, personal way. This is why I don't like books that describe the colors of auras in a general way. So before we progress to learning how to view auras and chakras, and how to perform psychic readings, you have to understand a thing or two about symbolism and the importance of your personal dictionary of psychic symbols. The question, do angels have wings, might sound silly, but when you're clairvoyant, the answer is a bit more complex. How do we perceive angels? Well, subjectively. The very first thing that you need to understand is that we perceive the energetic or spiritual world from our own perspective. It's like the I say to Mater, you say to Matu kind of thing. Whatever you see clairvoyantly will have a meaning to you and only you. You can't ask, I see this and this, what does it mean? Of another psychic, because whatever you perceive is being channeled through your own perception filters. Perception filters are our beliefs, experiences, and knowledge, everything that is stored within our mind. The best way to describe a perception filter is to give an example of colors. In Europe, the color white is a color of purity and peace. It is often worn by brides. In Japan, it's the opposite. White is the color of death and grief. It's all about cultural interpretation. In the same way, it works for the psychic mind. For someone else, the color red might symbolize blood and aggression. For me, red symbolizes passionate strength and even strong love. And that's why you shouldn't trust books that say, this and this color symbolizes this and this. It does, but only for the book's author. That's why you're going to create your own dictionary of psychic symbols soon. For now, let's get back to angels. Do they have wings or not? Well, yes they do. But what's more important is how we perceive them, rather than what they really look like. If we're talking about angels already, let's continue this example. To me, Archangel Raphael has short brown hair and wears jeans. When he comes to my room, he often carries leaves and pine needles with him. I can see these on the floor. Archangel Michael is tall with long hair and wears awesome metal armor.
Epic.
My own spirit guide has short black hair and wears something like a black leather jacket. And yet, all of this is subjective. It goes through my own perception filters. Quite often it's the case that different people perceive them in similar ways. It's interesting to look at modern, psychic paintings of Raphael and see that other people perceive him in almost the same way I do. But this is just the case of spiritual beings. When an entity is conscious, it has a tendency to project its form to the minds of people, so we, as psychics, perceive these beings in a similar way. They want us to see them in this way and not another. If they want us to see wings, we will see wings. But even if they project their form which they don't have, really, it's just a projection. After all, they're spiritual beings, our perception can vary. A friend of mine has wings, he's an incarnated nature spirit. Some people perceive these wings as butterfly wings, like in all these Irish stories of good fairies. And I perceive these wings as strong searchlights in the mist directed towards the sky. I can see wings, but my perception is slightly different. Whenever you perceive something, for example an entity, in a manner different from someone else, don't worry, really. The perception is subjective, and it can vary from person to person. And sometimes a couple of psychics can see the same thing. One time, I was sitting in a room with a friend, and I saw two energetic cats walk into the room. And I asked, what can you see here? She said, 2 cats. I said, they're very lean, aren't they? And my friend said, indeed. Such small experiences prove to me that clairvoyance is real. The Clairvoyant Symbols Dictionary anyway, spirit beings are one thing. Symbols, that's another thing. Symbols are often very, very subjective. I've mentioned colors already, but it's much wider than that. Through our lives we read many books, see many movies, see many symbols, and so on. All of this creates our experience. And when we stumble upon similar energies, meanings, or causes during our psychic practice, for example, during psychic readings, our mind translates the psychic impressions into images, symbols familiar to us. That's why it's very important to interpret your clairvoyant vision during psychic readings, aura reading, and chakra reading by yourself. I mention this because there are many books available that explain the meanings of different things that can be seen within the aura or chakras, books explaining each chakra and their meanings, and books that contain explanations of psychic symbols. Should you read such books? Well, yes, because they give you additional knowledge of symbols, chakras, auras, and things that you can experience during your clairvoyant practice. But in the end, as you study such books, remember that you're solely responsible for the interpretation of the things you see. That is why during each reading it's mandatory to ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Your own interpretation matters. Your mind will give you explanations, and you will understand things you see with time and practice. And as you progress with your clairvoyant practice, you will receive more visions, more symbols. So it's a good idea to create your own dictionary of clairvoyant symbols. Therefore, prepare a notebook. And after each psychonaut method journey, after each visit in your clairvoyant laboratory, and after each aura, chakra, or psychic reading, write all new symbols and meanings in the notebook. With time, such a notebook will become a useful resource for your psychic work. Start writing the dictionary right now and include all the symbols and visions that you experience. Then write all your feelings, emotions, and your own understanding of the things you have seen. At first you can work with your own visions, symbols. From time to time, return to previous entries and reread them. Analyze if some of the visions seem to be more understandable over time, or which interpretation seems to be most accurate. With time, you will learn how to interpret the symbol correctly. Later on, as you start working with other people, ask them to provide you with feedback after some time so you can check your interpretations of clairvoyant images as well. This way, you will improve your own psychic skills. Seeing auras. Now that you have learned more about symbols and ways that we perceive spiritual beings, we can learn more about seeing auras. Then, I will teach you how to perform a chakra reading, and finally, we will proceed to the practice of entire psychic readings. The aura is an energy field that emanates from the body of every living being, animals, plants, and humans, too. Some auras are stronger, while others are weaker. Some are bright, while others are dirty and require some psychic cleansing. But they're there, always. There are many ways to perceive an aura. Most tutorials teach how to perceive auras through physical clairvoyance, but I will teach you how to perceive an aura through your inner sight. For this practice, you won't be using the Clairvoyant Laboratory. Instead, you will be using just pure clairvoyance. You will sit and observe, just like that. You already know what inner sight is. It's an additional layer of perception generated by your mind that looks similar to dreams and visualization. And once your third eye is open, you can use the inner sight quite easily. So now you're going to practice it. What you need is a practice partner. It can be a plant, an animal, or a person. Choose one, because in all cases, the way you use the inner sight is exactly the same. Only the details vary. Plants have a simple aura, animals have more complex auras because they're more conscious. And people have very complex auras since we're sentient spiritual beings. But don't worry about this now. How to see auras through inner sight. Anyway, let's get to the tutorial itself. Sit down and relax. You might want to close your eyes if you're a beginner. But the more you practice, the easier it will be to focus with your eyes open. For now, close them and enter the alpha state. 2. Look at your target if your eyes are open, or imagine the target, visualize it, if your eyes are closed. The target can be a plant, an animal, or a person. All you have to do is create a focal point. Looking at someone, or visualizing him or her, is such a focal point, the hook, that I already have mentioned. 3. With your focal point, the hook, in your mind, visualize the aura, a bright energy field around the person. Simply visualize it, and then, after a few seconds, let go. 4. Once you let go, just observe. Allow your inner sight to show you the true aura. If your third eye is open enough, you will notice the change in your inner sight perception. The size of the aura might change, and the colors will be different, and you might start noticing additional elements of the aura. 5. So, just observe, pay attention, but do not struggle. Allow yourself to see and not to create. 6. When you're done with observation, relax, stop looking, and cut the energy cord link that you created. That's it. That's how you perceive auras of objects and people and animals through your inner sight. First, you create the focal point, the hook, by looking at something or visualizing the target. Then, you visualize the aura of the target, and then you let go. The inner sight, if it's developed nicely, will pick up, and you will be able to see the aura. If you can't see anything, keep practicing. And remember, do not struggle and do not force yourself to see. Once you're relaxed and once you let go for real, you will see. If you wish, you can ask control questions. Such questions are another way of creating a point of focus, a hook, to which your psychic intuition will assign visual information. For example, when you observe the aura, ask yourself with an intention of seeing and receiving the answer, how big is the aura? What color dominates in this particular aura? Is there anything extraordinary within this aura? Are there any specific layers within the aura? You can ask any question you want, and then simply wait for your intuition to give you answers. The more questions you ask, the more answers you receive, and the better your clairvoyance becomes. Now that you know how to see the aura, you can grab some books that explain different layers of auras and different things that you can see within the aura. For example, you can see darker pieces of the aura where the energy field is damaged, or where some nasty energy attached itself, and it requires cleansing. Or you might see scratches on the aura, or additional layers and such. All of this is so complex that it would require a few more books about the subject. But even if you can't get the books, don't worry, I'm here to teach you something, right? But I won't be teaching you about aura layers or different things that you can see within an aura. I already taught you this. The simplicity of learning is great because the only thing you really need is your own intuition. Whenever you see something upon the aura, or within chakras, as you will learn later on, ask yourself what it means, what this new thing that you see means. Through your intuition, the mind will give you the answer, and you will learn something new. It's that simple. Once you can see, use your own intuition to learn what the things you see means. It's how every single psychic in the world learns the meanings of auras. Now you can learn about something that lies below the aura, chakras. The chakra reading. The chakras are energy centers within our body. There are 7 primary chakras that are relevant to chakra reading. And a chakra reading is a psychic analysis of all 7 chakras that helps understand blockages, so a person can quickly learn what areas of life should be fixed first before proceeding with spiritual growth further. As I said, there are 7 main chakras. Here they are. 1. The root chakra, Muladhara. This is the first chakra, also known as the base. It is located at the base of the spine. It has only one opening, pointing downwards. This chakra is related to the spinal column and kidneys, and governs the adrenal glands. It's the rooted, physical part of our being, governing survival and primal instincts. It's how we respond to our own body and the nature around us. In simple words, it says, eat, don't allow to be eaten. 2. The sexual chakra, Swadhisthana. Known also as the navel or the sacral chakra, located just below the navel. This is the first chakra that opens both front and back. It's related to the reproductive system, and the glands affected are the gonads. Yes, this chakra is related to sexuality, and additionally to relationships with others. It's not just about sex, but more about the ability to form intimate bonds, not necessarily sexual. You can describe it as, I want to be with this person. 3. The personality chakra, Manipura. The solar plexus chakra, located below the breastbone and slightly to the left. It opens front and back and controls the stomach, liver, gallbladder, and nervous system. It's about willpower, determination, and personality. It's about your destiny and the way you fit into the world. You can describe it as, this is my partner, this is my home. 4. The heart chakra, Anahata. This chakra is located in proximity to the heart, and it's responsible for emotions. It opens front and back, and it's responsible for bringing emotions to your life. It primarily controls your heart, lungs, and blood. The best way to describe this chakra is to phrase it as, I like that female, she means something to me, I feel something towards her. This chakra is also responsible for improving your control over psychic abilities. Pay attention to it. 5. The expressive chakra, Visita. The chakra of communication controls your entire throat and communication capabilities. I'm telling you, I want to marry this girl, with these words, we describe this chakra, as it's all about communicating our will towards the world around us. You can have your will to shape your life, but if you have problems with the fifth chakra, you won't be able to turn your will into action. 6. The third eye knowledge chakra. Anya, the famous third eye. This chakra governs our intuition and steers our psychic abilities. It also controls our brain and everything that we can find within. This chakra is responsible for showing us the world as it really is, and it's also an important energy center when it comes to inner growth, as it allows us not only to see things around us but also things within us. 7. The crown chakra, Sahasraya. This chakra is often associated with white, purple, or gold colors. And all I can tell you about this chakra is that it's purely focused on our spirituality, connecting us to higher values, to the source, which some call God. The school of chakras originates from Hindu beliefs, and they were transferred to Western ground through theosophy. If you're a Wiccan, or a pagan, or anyone from a different tradition that doesn't believe in chakras, you don't have to see them, you might, or you might not. I know a couple of people who don't believe in chakras, but they can see them. Often, chakras are considered by these people as metaphors of inner personalities, and they can be used for psychological analysis of a person. Whether you believe in chakras or not, try to see them. If you do see them, use this knowledge to help others. But if you can't see them, that's okay, too. Especially if chakras do not fit your point of view. Anyway, I have decided to teach you aura viewing first, and then go to chakras, for an important reason. With this order, you're going to learn how to switch layers of perception. The entire process of perceiving chakras is exactly the same as the process of perceiving aura. So let's do some copy-paste with additional points. Do not be surprised if you can't see chakras on plants, and there are fewer chakras in the case of animals. 7 chakras exist in humans only. I recall the first time I was able to see the inside energetics and the chakras. I asked my training partner to sit and relax, and I focused on her. Then, I closed my eyes and I visualized the chakras, and finally, I let go of control. Then, the chakras that I visualized changed. They moved a bit, almost as if they tried to fit the proper area of the body where they should be located. Some of them glowed strongly, while others were weaker. And I could see the primary energy channels that go in proximity to the spine from the root chakra to the tip of the head. It was a truly extraordinary experience. How to do a chakra reading. Here's the tutorial itself. 1. Sit down and relax. You might want to close your eyes if you're a beginner. But the more you practice, the easier it will be to focus with your eyes open. For now, close them and enter the alpha state. 2. Look at your target if your eyes are open, or imagine the target, visualize it, if your eyes are closed. The target can be a plant, an animal, or a person. All you have to do is create a focal point. Looking at someone, or visualizing him or her, is such a thing. Ask, and the answer shall be given to you. I once saw a weird pattern of regular lines within the chakra of a person. I interpreted it correctly as a form of psychic shield, allowing some energies in and keeping some energies out. The person confirmed that such a shield had been placed on the chakra for spiritual purposes. Today, as a Reiki practitioner, I can often perceive the Reiki signs embedded within the chakras of other Reiki practitioners, simply because I know what to look for. The chakras have been nicely described in detail in my other book, Psychic Development Simplified, and in the Chakra Handbook by Bodo Baginski, which I strongly recommend. But again, it's all about your intuition. Observe the chakras and everything that you can see within them, and your intuition will tell you what you see. That's it. You've learned how to perceive the chakras. Now that I've taught you how to see auras and chakras, there's something interesting that I want to mention. In most cases, it's difficult to perceive your own aura and your own chakras. It's funny, almost ironic, that even if we can perceive auras and chakras of others, most of us have troubles perceiving our own chakras and aura. This is normal at first, and maybe with time you can rebuild your mind to such a degree that you won't have too many mental blockages to block you from looking at yourself from an energetic perspective. Anyway, that's why it's a good idea to have friends that are also clairvoyant, so they can look at you if you have something attached to your aura, or when there are problems with your chakras. Perceiving inner energetics. The energy body of a person or animal is made of meridians, energy channels, and chakras, energy centers. All these can be perceived through clairvoyance in a similar way as you perceive chakras and the entire aura. All you have to do is to switch the perception. Intend to see the meridians and inner energetic systems beyond chakras, and within a few moments, you should be able to see them. You will perceive blockages of a different sort, or attachments, and things like this. An ability of perceiving the inner energetics is very useful for every person that is interested in psychic healing or Reiki practice. Also, you can perceive the energetics of internal organs, heart, lungs, kidneys, and such. To do so, all you have to do is, once again, switch the layer of clairvoyant perception. Visualize all the internal organs and attach the aura to them, visualize their aura. Then simply let go. Within a few moments, you will be able to perceive the energetics of the inner organs. Generally, the organs that lack energy will be darker, and the healthy organs will glow nicely. Of course, the way you recognize if the organ is energized or not, healthy or ill, is subjective. So learn your own symbols of perception. Again, remember to ask control questions. The more questions you ask, the more answers you will receive, and the more detailed your psychic reading and clairvoyant perception becomes. Just remember, the ability to perceive organs can be useful for psychic healers and Reiki practitioners, but as long as you're not a doctor, do not give any kind of medical diagnosis. More theoretical tips. As you progress with clairvoyant development in practical aspects, meaning that when you begin practicing the actual clairvoyance, you will still charge the third eye, and it will get cleansed and healed. Because of this, with time more memories, patterns, and negative thoughts might appear in your conscious mind. When they do, use affirmations or core images or any other technique to work these out and heal your emotions. This will improve your clairvoyance, and it will also improve your daily life. Remember another thing, clairvoyant vision uses energies, our life force, chi. The more you look around, the more energies you burn. They're like fuel. So don't look all the time, especially when you still are a beginner. Manage your energies wisely and implement some kind of spiritual practice to recharge your psychic batteries. For example, learn Tai Chi Chuan or Qigong, or become a Reiki practitioner. Other methods of charging your psychic batteries include eating healthy food with a lot of fresh vegetables, getting good and peaceful sleep, rest, and meditation. When you're tired, don't look around. Simply don't let yourself burn out completely. There is one more thing you need to keep in mind. Learning to see won't allow you to see only spirits, ghosts, and some wicked energies. You will see both bad and good stuff. But more than that, you will see the problems people have. And finally, you will see the problems you have. Seeing is an element of spiritual growth, and spiritual growth is something that requires us to face our true self. In order to do so, we must face the illusion we've created around ourselves. And this may be painful for many. In simple words, you won't see only ghosts, but you will see your own lies, attachments, problems, and karma issues, the dirty stuff you wanted to forget about. But it's there, and seeing it allows you to heal yourself, and work things out. Keep this in mind. Seeing is cool, but using this ability for your own inner growth is even better. Doing psychic readings now, it's time to get back to the Clairvoyant Laboratory and teach yourself how to perform a clairvoyant psychic reading. Actually, I already had explained what the psychic reading looks like when I taught you about the Clairvoyant Laboratory. It's not difficult, but I will explain it one more time. A psychic reading is one of the most popular uses of psychic perception in the world. In short words, it's a process in which information is collected via psychic means, and then it's provided to another person. Remember the safety rules. Ground and center yourself, cleanse yourself after each reading, especially between readings, and remember to light a candle during the reading. How to perform a psychic reading. Now, let's get to the tutorial itself. Let's say you have a client who wishes to receive a reading. The first question is, does this person ask a specific question or just want to know what's wrong with his or her life? In the first case, you're going to look for the answer to the specific question, and in the second case, you're going to look for any tips or messages that might be useful for the person who wants your psychic reading. So, let's begin. 1. Ground and center. When you perform a psychic reading, you will receive energies from the person. So ground yourself, visualize the energetic roots coming from your feet and going into the ground, and intend them to release all unnecessary or negative energies back to the ground automatically. Then, center yourself. Focus on the lower Tantian for a while, then focus on the third eye. This time, it's a bit different because you need more energies within your third eye to work with. 2. Connect with the person. You need to create a link. To do so, intend to connect with the person, just like that. It will work because energy follows thoughts. If you wish, you can visualize a peaceful cord of energy coming from your body and touching the body of the other person in front of you. Think, I wish to connect with the person in front of me, and you will get the connection, as well. 3. Enter the Clairvoyant Laboratory. Now, go to your Clairvoyant Laboratory. Close your eyes, relax, enter the alpha state, and see your lab. With time and practice, and with more experience, you won't have to close your eyes. You will just relax and be able to remain with eyes open, and yet, you'll be able to see your lab and perform your psychic work. It takes some practice and time, but be patient. 4. Start asking questions. Now, ask the question. If the customer has a specific question, ask it. If he's a general client, then just allow your intuition to show you the things that he wishes to know. 5. Receive. And when you keep the goal in your mind, when you know what you wish to know about the person or the person's problems, just observe and start receiving. Trust your intuition. Just as you were practicing the psychonaut method, allow yourself to be guided by your intuition and observe the images and visions that come to you. Then, interpret them. Perform the interpretation as in any other case, with aura or chakra. Simply trust your intuitive thoughts and understanding of the things that you see. 6. Relay the answer or any information to the client. It might pull you out from your relaxation, but don't worry. Enter the alpha state again if you need to. With time, it will become a lot easier to perform the reading and talk to the person at the same time. At first, you might need to enter the lab, then get back to the real world, and relay the answer to the client. Don't worry about it, especially if you still are a beginner.
Hello.
7. Cut the link. If the client doesn't have any more questions, end the reading and cut the link with the person.
What the
8. Ground and center again. Ground yourself again, and then center and focus on the lower Tantian and direct all energies that aren't needed elsewhere to this area of your energy body. Finally, when the reading is done, cleanse yourself, because each time you connect with someone, you collect this person's energies of a different sort, so regular cleansing is important. You should cut the link at the end of the entire psychic reading session. You don't have to cut it after each and every visit in your clairvoyant laboratory, just after you're done with the person you've read. Beware. During a reading, you might accidentally receive a communication from spirits, ghosts. If you're not a skilled psychic and you know little about psychic self-defense, remember to shield yourself and ask your spirit guide for protection, even if you do not believe in spirit guides. If you're not skillful enough, refuse any form of spirit communication, just shout in your mind, no. And if the spirit is aggressive, break the connection with the client and end the reading. Spirit communication is a more advanced subject, and I don't feel experienced enough to discuss it. If you wish, you can perform psychic readings, aura and chakra readings, at a distance. It's useful to know that, in the world of energies, there's no such thing as distance. In order to perform the reading at a distance, and you can read objects and places at a distance, too, you need a target, something that will mentally connect you with the person or place you wish to read. For example, a photo, it can be physical or digital. Or you might want to use the person's voice over the phone or Skype. Or you can use an email address and person's name. These are so-called coordinates, and trust me, they will work. When I offer psychic services at a distance, I usually require the email address and customer's PayPal data to get the connection. It may sound difficult, but it's quite simple. You look at the photo or email address, and you think to yourself, I wish to connect psychically with that person, and you're done, you're connected. Remember, you need to cut the link at the end of the reading session even if you read at a distance. Distance matters not on the spiritual plane. And that's how you perform the psychic reading. As a beginner, it's a great idea to practice psychic readings and other forms of readings, aura, chakra, with friends or family members. Use them as guinea pigs, of course, ask them if they agree, first, and ask them for their feedback. Their feedback for your psychic findings will help you learn to work with intuition, interpretations, and with the clairvoyance itself. Now, whenever you do a psychic reading, or aura reading, or even chakra reading, do not focus on visual perception only. At the beginning of this book, I mentioned that, in most cases, clairvoyance acts as a primary psychic sense that often is supported by additional senses. So, keep an open mind. During the clairvoyant reading, you might experience clairaudience, feelings, intuitive messages, and you might simply know things. That's okay. Use all this additional psychic perception to improve yourself as a psychic. Beware, again. When you practice clairvoyance, practice it with a willing partner only, please. It's because whenever you look at a person, you create an energy cord, a link that connects you with that person. And some people like their privacy, they don't like if someone is observing them. It's like looking at a person in the shower, not very ethical, is it? Most people won't realize that you're looking at them clairvoyantly, but you never know who you might stumble upon. If the person is a psychic or an occultist, he might consider your observation as a form of psychic attack, and he might defend himself through attacking you. So, please, be careful and practice only with people that are willing to do so. Practicing clairvoyance through observation. Now that you know a lot of practical skills like aura viewing or chakra and psychic reading, I can provide you with some additional exercises and examples that will help you with the development of your own clairvoyant abilities. There's a lot of things that you can observe through clairvoyance. You can use rooms, objects, crystals, and your garden outside to practice clairvoyance. You can develop this ability even if you don't have access to a training partner. In all the following situations, you need to use the technique that you have learned in the aura viewing and chakra reading tutorial. You focus on a hook, an object, or you visualize it, if you prefer to perceive things with your eyes closed. Then, you visualize the aura and the energetics. And finally, you let go. Within a few moments, you can perceive the energies of the target. Things you can practice with. First, you can observe every single object you can think of. The mighty collection of kitchen knives, the books on the shelf, the furniture, too. Every single object around you can be observed via clairvoyance because every single object contains some kind of energy. How is it different from auras? Well, auras are energy fields generated by living beings. Objects glow psychically because they collect energies from their environment. So you can see if an object is energized with positive energies or if it contains dark, unpleasant energies. You can perceive and practice with talismans, amulets, and different types of sacred symbols.
Hello?
All these give some kind of visible energy. Visible through clairvoyance, of course. With time, you will be able to distinguish whether the kind of energy you see is positive, spiritual, or whether the energy that you see is unpleasant, negative, and requires cleansing. If you wish, you can perceive entire rooms and buildings. They glow as well, at least those that are cleansed and filled with spiritual energies, for example, temples or sacred spaces in which a person meditates or performs some kind of spiritual work. You can use this skill to analyze which room in the building requires some psychic cleansing. If you have access to a sacred place, for example, a sacred mountain or sacred forest, take a look at it, as well. A word of warning here, if a place gives you the creeps and is said to be haunted, then, please, don't look around, you'll be safer this way. But if you know that a place is a sacred place, a power place, then take a look. You might be surprised to realize how strong it glows. You can practice clairvoyance by observing crystals. There are different types of crystals. Bring some types of crystals together and look at them. Try to notice the subtle differences in their energetics. Then leave a crystal for a few weeks in the room in which you, for example, work, and look at it after these few weeks. Notice if the energetic changed. Maybe the crystal is darker, maybe it collected some negative energies. Then cleanse the crystal, place it in salt water for 24 hours or bury it in the garden for 24 hours. Then take a look again. Does it look different? Maybe it's cleansed, cleaner. It should be. Our world is a beautiful place. Go outside and observe the energetics of the garden, the grass, all the flowers, the birds that fly around. When I first saw this, it was like sitting in the cinema and watching the Avatar movie by James Cameron. So many colors, and it was so real, even if I could see it only through my inner sight. Observe the trees. Trees are powerful energy sources. They collect the energy of heaven, the spiritual energy, and they channel it into Mother Earth.
Can I help you?
And you can see the process, along with the powerful aura of the trees. The trees that are dead won't have a powerful aura, and they will only collect energies instead of generating the auric field as living beings do. Observe animals, as well. Go to the zoo and look at animals there. Observe the animals that live in your home, if there are any. Cats or dogs, whatever. Don't be surprised if you can perceive a powerful third eye chakra in the case of cats. Cats are very, very psychic. Do some exercises. Look at the room you're in right now. What kind of energies can you see? Can you perceive entities, for example, your spirit guide? Are there any negative energies in the room? What does your spirit guide look like? Try to describe him or her. Look at the nearest objects. What kind of energies are they charged with? What colors can you see around you? Just relax, enter an alpha state, focus on your third eye, and then look around through your inner sight, and you will be able to perceive the world through clairvoyance. One more tip that I have for you is to find someone who can see as well. Such a person can confirm your clairvoyant findings, and with such a person's help, you can improve the confidence in your own abilities. Practicing clairvoyance online the internet is a powerful tool of psychic development. There's Facebook, Wikipedia, Flickr, and hundreds of websites that provide you with photos of people, events, places, and objects. You have learned how to perceive the energetics, how to work with the Clairvoyant Laboratory, and how to perform psychic reading at a distance. You can use this knowledge to practice your clairvoyance further with the use of the internet. How to do so? Well, go to Wikipedia, Flickr, Facebook, and any other website that provides you with photos. Choose one photo that you wish. With the photo in mind and in front of you on the screen, close your eyes and relax. Ask yourself, and ask the higher guidance if it's safe for you to connect with the people, places, and events in the photo. If you receive the intuitive answer, yes, which might be just a gut feeling, continue on. If you receive an answer, no, which also might be just a gut feeling, find a different photo. Then, through your intention, connect with whatever is in the photo. Use your clairvoyant laboratory to analyze the photo. Look at the aura of the place and people, and try to receive as much psychic information about the photo as possible through your laboratory. If you use Wikipedia, it's highly possible that the article to which the photo was attached will provide you with feedback and you will know if you're right or not. In all other cases, if feedback isn't possible, just keep practicing, as in this way, you will develop your clairvoyance further. You can merge the clairvoyant laboratory and other techniques together. Once in your laboratory, hook a person or an object, visualize it along with its aura, and let go. Your inner sight will pick up, and you will be able to observe auras and chakras within the clairvoyant laboratory. And since there are millions of photos out there, then you have a lot to practice with. Now I've mentioned earlier that you should ask the person you wish to look at for permission. And here I'm telling you to connect with people from photos, is it okay? Indeed, because you've asked for permission, not from the people, but the higher guidance. If it tells you it's okay, then you'll be safe. A few words of advice, though, regarding this way of learning to see. I've met with the following situation. There are forums, online discussion boards where people post photos of different people and places and ask others to tell what they feel or see. Yes, it's a way to practice clairvoyance and other psychic perception abilities, but let's be honest, it's not the wisest thing to do. Remember, whenever you connect with a person or a place, you create a link through which different beings and energies can follow you back. And unless you're quite good at psychic self-defense, you might get yourself into trouble. If the place or person that you see on a photo feels bad, don't proceed with any psychic reading or clairvoyant experiment. You'll be safer this way. One time I was looking at a photo of a haunted cemetery. Experienced paranormal investigators warned everyone about this place. Immediately as I checked it out psychically, I got this evil feeling. It was really evil. I broke the contact with the place right away because whatever gives me such terrible sensations can't be good. The Clairvoyance Support Circle. Do you want to know how my psychic teacher taught me to see? Now that's an interesting story. I paid her a visit, and we were enjoying a cup of coffee when, suddenly, she said, "Okay, describe my spirit guide." And I said, "What?" I was completely shocked. "You already can see, now describe my spirit guide," said she. So I did. I just looked around, focused, and engaged my inner sight. And I described the spirit guide. I was correct, and this small experience proved to me that I can see for real. Other small experiences proved this to me, as well, where there were a couple of people in the room, and we could see the exact same thing together. That is why I believe that you should create a clairvoyance support circle. Simply gather 3 or 4 people who are interested in learning to see and to use clairvoyance and start the practice. Below are some exercises that will help you with a group practice. Describe the aura. Each one of you has an aura. The best way to practice is to choose a person whose aura you're going to observe. Then, use your favorite clairvoyance technique and gather the reading and information silently in your mind. Then, when you're ready, you can describe the person's aura and compare your findings. If you wish, you can write down your findings on paper so you won't be inspired by each other. Remember to cut the links after you're done. Describe the